Hey you guys, I am at a new build listing and we are getting a phase 2 inspection, and I'm with my inspector and we are going to go through and kind of describe to you what things you should be looking at in a new construction home. So this is Colton.
Hello everyone, how are y'all? Yeah, so we're gonna get started here. I'm gonna have a number of stuff on the report for you. Most of it's pretty par for the course for a new build, but I am gonna go through some of the bigger things that we wanna make sure that we do get fixed during this phase process. The first one, as I was explaining a little bit ago, are going to be the nailing place. There are a number that are missing. Basically, kind of a rule of thumb, we're looking for these metal plates to be installed to prevent nails from being driven into these electrical lines as well as plumbing lines. Here's an example of one that they did install correctly. Basically, that's going to prevent nails from being driven in when they're hanging sheetrock or someone's hanging some sort of picture or something like that, to prevent that from being driven into the electrical line, causing damage or electrical shock. And so there are a number of areas that need to have them installed. And so basically, I look, if my thumb can touch it from the edge of the stud, then I want to make sure that they do have them installed. So we've gone through, I've noted a number of different areas where they do need to be installed. Here's another one where they didn't do that correctly. But there are a number throughout that do need to be installed, and I have the locations as well as pictures of them in the report for you, as well as plumbing lines, so to prevent any sort of like possible leaking from happening. Here is a plumbing nailing plate that they have driven in here to prevent that from driving into the drain right there. But at these, we should have some installed as well. So right here, over on this other side, because you're not going to have a nail driven from in here, but on this other side in the laundry room, they should have them installed. But I do have those in the report for you, and as well as the location, so it should be easy enough to follow. Overall, the stud conditions look pretty good. I did find a couple of bowing studs. That's really not too bad, but I do have those in here. You can see it from further back a little bit better. Really not too bad. Those were the only ones that I saw that were significant enough that need to be maybe supported a little bit again. I love them directly underneath there, and so this stud is basically hanging off, and so I would like them to bring in something and support it a little bit better right here as well. Right over here where you got your big old girder span across and it comes down to over here. It's not bad, but with all the weight that's transferring from above all the way down here, I would like them to shore this area up, just so that you don't lend itself. I'm not worried about it coming down, but I'm more worried about like cracking and separation, stuff like that. This will be an area that's going to lend itself to cracks and separations. And so I would like them to just bring some additional support in this area as well. I have this in the report for you. We'll have them all kind of labeled as well. And so they can come in and bring that. This is in the office. This is a good one. This is a good area that can definitely be taken care of. It should be. So I call this dining room, this office, this bedroom too. Right here. So you got 1, 2, 3, 4 down to 1. Mm-hmm. So this is one that should definitely be supported, because that's going to definitely lend to some cracking and separation. Same thing over on this wall. As you can see, you got the roof rafters coming down onto the top sill and then coming down, and there's just some spaces. And it looks like they're aware and they've got some sort of marking saying like, something should be right here as well, probably some additional support. So I have those in here for you. These are all located in the report for you, like office, living room, office. So it should be easy enough for them to follow. So yeah, this is a perfect example of what I want to see over there. As you can see, you got those 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that looks pretty good. You are missing some joist hangers. These are your joist hangers right here. Basically, if you don't have it to rest on some sort of sill plate, we want to see some sort of strapping support for them, so that they're not just driven in by nails. And basically right here on the stairway, I would like to see some additional support. So like right here, they have it nailed in. That's not bad, but I would like to see a strap right here as well, especially being the stairway. That's going to be a lot of weight that's distributed throughout. So I would like to see another joist hanger like they have right here and right here to right here, as well as this one right here, supported right there. And then this is another area that I want additional support that can come in and kind of shore the stairway up right here. and there were a couple of areas where the joist hangers, and it was mainly in the garage, where the joist hangers, their nails, and I'm kind of being picky, I'm always picky on these, where the nails weren't fully driven into the joist hanger properly. And so they're kind of just hanging out like on this side over on the right side. You can see that nail is not fully driven in. Again, like I said, I'm being just kind of picky, but they could just drive that in with a hammer just so that it is properly supported. Basically, each one of those holes in the joist hanger should have a nail or fastener driven into it. And if it's not fully driven in, then it's not correct. So just have it done. It should be too big of a deal to get that taken care of. A couple of areas in the master where they most likely had some supports driven into the foundation to support the roof above while they were doing framing work. And when they removed them, it's caused some damage to the foundation. They can just come in and add some sort of skim coat so that whenever you have your flooring installed, it doesn't cause any sort of like unevenness or anything like that. But they need to come through and just kind of do some patchwork on the foundation right here. But the foundation as a whole looks great. I didn't see any cracking or separations or anything like that. So that, all that looks pretty good for the most part, but there's just a little bit of damage that can come in. A number of little areas, all these little holes and stuff I've noted that they can kind of patch up on the outside. They'll add flashing tape over these little holes, and a lot of times they'll come in with this blocking, this is fire blocking, and they'll come in and just kind of fill these little holes. I've noted lots of them that they need to kind of.
So what about this one right here with all of those and there's no support?
I've got that in the report, yes.
Oh, so that should have, all of that should be matching up.
I would like it,
Yeah.
yes ma'am. I would like at least like 2 more installed underneath here because you have this.
Yes.
So if they added 1, 2, and then you had 1, 2, 3, 4. That would look pretty good, as well as in this corner. I would like to see another additional support because you got a bit of weight coming in and being distributed right there.
Right.
So they just come in and touch that up, but I have those in here for you as well.
Okay.
Absolutely. Make your way upstairs. There's some areas where the subfloor is kind of damaged as well as uneven. That's going to cause
Creaking, yes, yes.
Yeah, like,
Eric, you'll be asking about that later, why it's creaking.
yes, yes. As you can see right here, a bit uneven. You can feel that pretty easily. Lots of areas where it's uneven. And they can come through and try to adjust this. Your tapping as well. This one, your foot catches on. So I'd like them to come through and adjust things as well.
And so you'd feel that under your carpet eventually?
Absolutely.
Yeah, with your
Absolutely.
foot.
So they can come through and touch that stuff up. Again, these are little nail and plate areas they need to come through.
They need to sand it?
Yeah, how do they fix that, Colton? Do they
really
nail it
depends.
down more?
That could fix it. They might have to pop a couple of them up and adjust them. It just really depends on to what extent it needs to be done. They can sand it, stuff like that.
Okay.
They might have to pop this one up and actually readjust this one, but they'll determine that once they get out here and start looking at it a little bit better. All your HVAC equipment's up in the attic. All of it's set up great. I didn't have any issue with that.
Okay.
They don't have the gas lines fully ran, like the flex line and stuff, but at this time it all looks really good. I haven't seen any issue with the installation or anything like that.
Okay.
The only issues that I had in the attic was some of the rafters are finger jointed, which isn't ideal. These are finger joints. It's basically 2 pieces of wood. Basically 2 pieces of wood put together, and they're jointed together. They do add additional strength, but as rafters, they tend to lend itself to kind of sagging and stuff. But a lot of them are supported underneath by like a roof brace. So where they do have them, they are at least supported at those kind of junction points. So I'm not too worried about it, but I did know that there are some present. You can probably see one actually. These were the few that I saw that work. They tried, they got close.
This is the attic.
Yeah, this is one of the walk-ins. So you see this like 2 separate pieces and it's jointed together. They had a roof brace right here, so it's not fully supported underneath it, but I mean, for the most part, it's pretty darn close.
Okay.
So they at least attempted to try to, where they did add the finger joints, they did at least try to support it. So I'm not mad at it, but it is technically wrong. Like here's another one where it's finger jointed and they could have supported it a little bit better, but it's not terrible. I've seen a lot worse for sure.
Okay. At what point, quick question, Colton, when do they put these cross beams? Just for my
So
knowledge.
that's just bracing. It really depends. It really depends on the wall itself. Like if you got a number of like supports that are coming down and rest on this top sill. So they just kind of bring in some additional cross bracing. Really, it's just discretion from the engineer.
Ah, okay.
Yeah. And sometimes they'll actually run like metal straps as well.
That's what I usually see. That's why I was asking.
Yeah, just really engineer dependent. Some of my bigger concerns are going to be on the outside with some of the flashing tape. So the flashing tape basically seals up the exterior sheathing where they kind of lap. There's a number of areas where it's loose, damaged, and not properly flashed. Basically, like shingles on a roof, everything should overlap one another. And we got some shoes.
Yeah, I wore my painting shoes. I came prepared. He told me it was muddy.
It's very muddy.
I was like, all right, let me change my shoes.
Y'all could probably stick to this. Because this stuff is just awful. So basically, so this is a perfect example. Your flashing tape should overlap. And as you can see, that tape that runs down actually goes behind that window top, window flashing. And so as water that gets behind this wall, it could make its way behind that window right there. So that should actually overlap. So they should start at the bottom and work their way up, kind of like this. See how it overlaps this piece all the way down. That should be how it works. If they come in and add an additional piece and just overlap it, that would at least be a lot better than left the way it is. And I've got pictures of all those. Another concern of mine is the form boards still being present. As you can see, this is a big old chunk of wood. Those are the form boards from the foundation where they did not fully remove. That is prone to like possible like termite damage and stuff because it's wood that's then buried, which is just prime conditions for termites. So they can come in and want to eat on that wood. It's attached to the structure. Then they want to make their way into the wood on the inside of the frame.
Which part?
That piece right there, that's wood.
That's wood right there.
Okay.
You know, it's like when they put the board up and they just left that board there and they didn't take it away.
Yeah, they never removed them all, and it's basically around the entire exterior. So they could go through and get a lot of that removed. Right here on the front of the garage, there's another big piece. Here are some of the form supports, and then there's another big piece that's buried still. And so they need to come through and make sure all that is properly removed throughout. We're gonna follow here, we can go around and walk on the road. These windows, like we had the other day, should have Z flashing. The ones that kind of sit out and let out. Those windows should have Z flashing. Basically, it adds a layer of protection to prevent water from entering. They have the flashing tape, those look good, but those will not be supported by anything other than trim. And so they should add a piece of metal flashing, it's called Z flashing, that goes over the window edge, the window trim, and then underneath the trim piece that's gonna be installed. And basically that's gonna add an additional layer of protection on this window. This window, it's tucked up underneath the soffit. I'm not too worried about this one in per se because water will have a harder time getting to that one. I still like it for perfection. I called that one out as well, but this upper one on the second story definitely should have that protection. And then the rear over here by the master should also have Z flashing over on those windows as well. So I have those in the report for you, and I would like to see those installed. A number of the flashing tape on the walls is loose and kind of just damaged. As you can see, it's kind of bunched up in a number of different areas. They can come through and just rip that. Lots of loose flashing tape. But I have all that in the report for you. And missing, like right there at the bottom of the sheathing to that OSB, they could have flashing tape installed there as well. Gaps. Basically sealing up all of these gaps. Sure. Well, I mean, it's really important to get these phased done because a lot of times there's not a whole lot of hands-on oversight from the builder. A lot of times there's lots of different contractors that are coming in and out from all over, and so it's hard to be out here all the time for them. And so having a third party come in and take care of you is pretty important. That way it is somebody that you are counting on as opposed to just the builder trying to get his job done. So having somebody come out and point this stuff out is good for your information, as well as a third party for the builder to come back in and have somebody kind of just double check his work, because he's not able to see everything. He's doing 30 different homes at the same time, and so he can kind of get blind to it. And so having somebody come in and just focus on your property alone is always important. Absolutely.
Perfect. Thank you.